Marathon Meeples, top 100 games, 40 to 31. If you want to watch the entire series, make sure to hit that subscribe button.
Okay, jumping in, number 40, Hadrian's Wall. This is a heavier roll and write game. You're essentially just trying to build out your kingdom and you're trying to keep invaders from attacking you. Sounds simpler than what it is because you have a number of meeples throughout the game. You're just kind of doing math and doing combos and just you're trying to like build up certain areas like your Senate. You're trying to build up your wall. You're trying to build up your infrastructure. You're trying to build up your economy. It's a really great game. I think it might play better solo than with multiple players though.
I agree. It is 100% a solo multiplayer game. And the one thing I am not a huge fan of with this game, similar to that of, let's say, a Tapestry, is the fact that your rounds end at different times. So if you're playing with someone who is phenomenal at creating combos and chain reactions and just mathing out everything, their round is going to take easily 10 to 15 minutes longer than the other person's round.
I don't think it's 10 to 15 minutes, but I think it might feel like it. But no, definitely, I think I take longer when I'm playing it. I try to math it all out in a combo. I still don't take that long. I take 5 minutes a turn, but you're like 2 to 3, and you're on your phone. So if you were playing this does up, I think, to 6 people. That'd be a long game because you never know. If you have one slow person in that group, I think a lot of you will just be kind of sitting around, hopefully having good conversation.
Number 39 is Sushi Go. We don't have it here with us because it is part of my classroom board games. This is a set collection code drafting game, fantastic party game. Since the original, they have come out with a sushi party for a larger group as well as a sushi roll. But I love just the basic one deck of cards. I think you can play up to, it's either 5 or 6 people, and you can have a great conversation as you play this game. So you sit around the table and you're just sliding cards over, picking one, playing around, sliding them over, and you're drafting one per turn. So overall, quick, easy, awesome theme, and if you know anything about me, I love theming my games, so nothing is better than homemade sushi followed up with a game of Sushi Go. Coming in at number 38 is The Gates of Luang. Now, this is a game that has entered our collection for the second time. It was out of print, and Matthias decided that it was appropriate to sell it. You can imagine that did not sit well with me. It was one of, I think, probably first 10 games?
Nah, first 20.
Okay, first 20, but it was a game that we played over and over and over again. And at the time we sold it, I would say it kind of felt like we had outplayed it.
Oh, I sold this thing to death. It's an amazing solo game, so I must have sold it like 20 times.
But the interesting part of it is, even though he soloed it a lot, it didn't ruin the game. Like some games, if somebody masters it, it can ruin the game. This one definitely doesn't do that.
You were so good at it, right? That was the thing. You didn't get, you're like, oh, well, you played it 20 times. I've just picked it up twice, and woo, look at me just moving leeks and spinach and
amazing little vegetable meeples. You are basically selling vegetables at a market stall, fulfilling customers' wants and needs, and there's different cards to give you certain powers. You can steal from your neighbors, and you score victory points by paying the price of the victory points. So you pay 1, you can move it up 1, but then you need to pay a significant amount of money. So you need to really balance your money and work your way up the track because it is very difficult to catch up after you go a couple rounds.
Yeah, it's one of Uwe Rosenberg's original games. I think it might have been the first or second he ever made, but he didn't get published till later on. This game is really good in terms of it's amazing solo, as I said, but it's also very interactive at other player counts because you're drafting cards and then you kind of like have your hand and then you have to give very dangerous cards to somebody else and vice versa. So you're trying to figure out, okay, what may they be trying to work in their market stalls and what do I want to keep for myself? You got to put a card down on the table and just kind of like leave it out there in the wild and hope nobody gets it. So it's a very good interactive game. And as she said, like the meeples are great and everything else. I'm not sure if this is currently in print, but it's worth tracking down a copy. 5 Tribes. This is, I think we got this pretty early on in collecting because Lisa's a big Ticket to Ride fan. I think it was 51 on the list, and it was a Days of Wonder game. So everybody knows Ticket to Ride, and any Days of Wonder game, they come with little pamphlets. So of course she's in there. She's shopping through. She's looking at Memoir 44 War Game. No way I'm not doing that. Small World. No way I'm not doing that. 5 Tribes. Let's give it a go. So 5 Tribes is I don't even know technically. Is this a
It's
Euro?
a worker.
It's a worker placement.
It's a worker placement,
reverse.
but it's a reverse worker placement. And the fact that your workers are already down on the board, you are strategically trying to pick up the workers, and the tile you end at, you collect those meeples, and you get to take that action.
Yeah, it's unique. I can't think of any other games even now that kind of do this. So
No.
This is definitely a unique game in the collection. There's an expansion for it, which adds kind of ditches and some different tiles that I think it's worth getting. But yeah, it's unique. It plays well, and this is an easy kind of mid-gateway game that you can get to other people that have played some of those Ticket rides because they'll notice that Days of Wonder logo and go, oh, maybe I'll give it a shot.
Number 37 is Pandemic.
Oh, don't say Pandemic.
I know. Who wants that in a video?
Yeah, this video's going to get flagged now.
I have to say, almost everybody who's into board games over the past 2 years has probably seen this game. It is a cooperative game, probably our first co-op game that we ever bought.
100%.
And it is a amazing game at getting you to work with other people. The theme right now might be on some people's good list and other people's stay away.
It's on nobody's good list.
But nonetheless, the game is a solid cooperative game. They have tons of expansions. They have legacy games now. So it's an IP in and of itself. If you love this system, you can definitely do a lot within it.
Yes.
And if you have, a spouse or a partner that competitive games might not be for you, this is a great game to try and see how it turns out.
Yeah, I think it's a great game. We have the expansion boxes, you'll see, because we have the On the Brink, which comes with an extra color of cubes to get rid of, and we just got rid of the main box. One thing you have to watch for in this game is like the alpha gamer. You can have somebody kind of bossing you around the board. Well, you're actually pretty good on this one. I said only this one. But you can have somebody bossing everybody around the board. So as long as you kind of control that early, I think it has to be 10 or 15 years old now. But it still holds up. I still enjoy playing it. The legacy games are great. And I just like how they keep adding some of these new different IPs to it where they have different wrinkles where you're doing things with boats and water and whatnot. So great system. Number 35, a surprise hit for us, Meadow. I think Meadow, the cute artwork across it just kind of belies how good of a combo game this is. In Meadow, you're essentially building out your meadow and you're drafting different cards and you have to pay for them based on previous symbols. So it sounds kind of like, okay, done that a number of times, sounds simple, but once you get further into this game, you're just having to math out different things and oh, how do I get this card? I gotta have to do this and this and this. You have to chain things together. So rules overhead, I think it's only got a weight below 3, but there's a lot of decision making. It can take some time to play, but I think it's a very good game. Cute art, and it also has some interesting drafting.
The game also comes with really cool little code holders, so the game also has great table presence.
Number 34, Taverns of Tiefenthal. This is an interesting game. It's by Wolfgang. Oh, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. But that's a very interesting kind of way to learn the game system itself. It comes with, I think, 4 or 5 modules inside of it. So when you play the game the first time, you're just playing essentially the base. And then you keep on adding little sections. It's almost like a legacy game until you get to the end and you're like, okay, now I've got 4 or 5 different additional options when I play. But it's dice drafting. You're trying to basically just serve beer to people in a pub, but you're trying to okay, how do I make my beer? Where do I store it? How do I give it out? Fun game. You do dice drafting, so I can take her dice, she can take mine. It's interactive. It's a system I think they're going to continue to grow. I think I see that there's an expansion coming for it.
Yeah, and the neat part of it is you're upgrading buildings right on the board, so the board's modular, and you can upgrade a thing, flip over a piece of that board. You have one of the expansions, you're doing little drams of scotch, maybe, I'm not sure, and there's another track to work your way around. So there's the elements Matthias said that you add are actually quite substantial as it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Number 33 is Cartographers. This is a flip, and I call it flippin' color because you can color your pages rather than just using symbols to fill in your map. You are essentially a cartographer and you are drawing a map. So there's little cubes, you're filling them in based on the codes that get toned up, and you're trying to fulfill different goals. So there are 3 different goals that you are going to be scoring throughout the game, and after each round, you score 2 of them. So in the first round, you're going to score A and B, the second round, you're going to score B and C, and in that last round, you're going to score C and A. So you're going to change what you're doing throughout the game.
Well, thank you for the alphabet lesson. It's a fun game where you're doing your coloring. She likes taking photos of the coloring afterwards. Now it's becoming a system. What we have here is the first game. We've played the expansion, and now there's a bunch of map packs. So I feel like this entire system is going to grow within that role player universe. Number 32, Agricola, All Creatures Big and Small. I think this has to be our 5th or 6th Uwe Rosenberg game on the list. This is a great 2-player game. We have the big box edition, which comes with all the expansions, and it's basically Agricola minimized for 10 rounds and has a bunch of tiles. Yeah, a bunch of players. Great price point. You're still doing all those Uwe Rosenberg kind of things where you're trading in resources and wood, building buildings, have animals, don't let them run away, yada, yada, yada. But there's a lot going on with all the expansion pieces that comes, particularly with the big box, because you only have so many buildings per game that you're going to be building out. So every game is different. The replayability is through the roof. It's quick. It's fun.
And there's Anna Meeples, so you can never go wrong with a game with Anna Meeples. 31 is Toji. This is a 2-player only small box game, and it is basically a worker placement game where you are collecting cards for goods or tribe, and you are going to score points based on your tribal cards. In this game, you can really interfere with the other person's plans because the way you put your meeples down control what cards you get, and other people can block you.
Yeah, I think, to me, this is, if you're starting or if you've even been playing for a while, this is probably the best value worker placement game because it has worker placement and also tableau building. It's like $18 Canadian, so take that to your regular currency. Such a great value, such a good game in there for 2 players. So I would recommend this to anybody that's just kind of like building out their collection.
And fabulous to travel with.
Yes.
Because it's literally a deck of cards and 6 meeples. Mm-hmm. That's it for 40 to 31. Please hit the subscribe button and join us again for 30 to 21.